Welcome. It's day 30 of my 365-day challenge, and I'm Henry, and my channel is Henry's Millions. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll be talking about a very interesting and useful book from 1903. It has to do with willpower. Why am I talking about this? As you may have seen my earlier videos about willpower with the help of a book from William James, The Principles of Psychology, between 1895 and 19-something. They covered the will and willpower in great detail, and that material and the ideas and what they found has not changed much in the last 125 years. It's remarkable what these scholars, what these psychologists have found. A few things we were able to progress in terms of neuroscience, but conceptually, the will and willpower, it's the same. It's amazing that modern science hasn't been able to make more progress in that on this subject. I think the only thing that's come up in the last 20 years, there's a book recently, it was a huge disappointment, so I'm not going to tell you which book it was, but the only thing they were able to come up with is that if you feed your brain sugar or carbohydrate and you have more energy, you're going to have a stronger self-control, stronger willpower. Common sense. I mean, if you don't have energy, nothing's going to work. So I think we've really lowered the bar in human society, civilization, in terms of findings today. It's people conducting silly studies, marshmallow tests and things like this, and then just not really pushing the bar ahead. So back to the book. By the way, we're building a body of knowledge is what I'm doing here with you, so that we can collect everything that we've learned and apply it to your life so that we can achieve more positive outcomes in different areas of our lives. We can work with our minds in a more strategic, hands-on fashion and find out what are all these different parts doing and how we can better manage them and strategize to achieve better outcomes. The book is called The Diseases of the Will. It was written in 1903. I know it's a little bit difficult to to walk up on with such a negative word, but it's really remarkable. It was written by Ribot, R-I-B-O-T, 1903, Diseases of the Will. And the amazing thing is, this psychologist, I don't know exactly what he practiced, but he gave so many case studies of individuals that had severe problems, deficits, difficulties, disorders involving their willpower. But it's only then that you can see how willpower, how the will works. It's when you go to these extremes. So I'd like to share with you what I've learned from this book. I've kind of boiled it and strained it so you don't have to do that. So I've divided it into 6 simple parts. At the end, we're going to just sum up the 6th part, but we'll start with willpower as effort against resistance. We're just going to dive right in. Willpower as effort against resistance. And he talks about, just like William James, I mean, it was the understanding at the time, still today, still current. Willpower manifests as either inhibition or impulsion. These are 2 forms of willpower, 2 energies at play here. Inhibition or impulsion. And the inhibition is a restraining instinct, passion, or habit. The impulsion, so the inhibition is the stopping power. And the impulsion is the overcoming the apathy, the fear, the torpor. It's the positive energy. So both forms require effort when your chosen goals face internal resistance. You want to do something, but you've got internal resistance. Societal pressures, the inner voices from the collective, or morals, values. There's so many things at play. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's unreasonable, irrational. But you want to do something, you want to work towards something, but you can't, you shouldn't, it's not going to work. Things like this, right? So this is the internal resistance, and you've got these two forces at play here: the inhibitive force, inhibition, or the impulsive force. You've heard these before, like impulsive gambler, impulsive nature, right? It's not thinking, just doing impulsively, and where it's detrimental. And then inhibitive is where someone's inhibited. It seems like they should be doing something, they want to do something, but they're inhibited. They're not, for whatever reason. So the effort arises in this conflict. This is the true volitional effort, and it occurs when impulses and your conscious choices are in opposition. So you've got impulses to do something, but your conscious choices say, no, don't do this, do that instead. When you must act against your immediate lower tendencies, again, in favor of higher, more complex goals. So that's number one. Number two, psychological foundations and trainability. The feeling of effort is a subjective reflection of real physiological processes in the nervous system. The ability to sustain willpower depends on whether your neural centers, the parts of our brain that deal with this, are well trained and resilient or easily exhausted. So willpower can be strengthened. Just as muscles grow with exercise, the neural basis of willpower can be trained through repeated conscious effort. Fatigue and lack of rest can weaken it, and resting or recovery is essential. So today in neuroscience, they found the parts of the brain that deal with our attention, our decision-making, willpower, and you can fatigue them, you can overwork them. They can be, suboptimally functioning if you're tired, if you don't have enough energy, if you're not eating right. And so the willpower is trainable. That is an amazing thing, that it is trainable, and you get stronger, you get better over time at making, not only holding attention to things that are important to you, mental, right? So keeping important things in your mind, holding attention, and making better decisions, acting, and not just the decision, but the actions, right? So we separate those two. The attention, the decision is made, and then action. You can make a decision but not take action on it. It happens all the time. And so all of that, this whole process, all of these components can be strengthened if you work on it. And that's a very good thing to know, very reassuring. So initially, I didn't know that. I thought that it's going to always be an uphill battle, but it's not. And the more you strengthen and apply your willpower to any area of your life, the more it helps other areas. So it's a huge benefit there. So whatever work you do with this inner conflict, working on your mind, it's going to help you in the long run and in different areas of your life. The third thing I want to talk about is willpower as a constructed capacity. It's not an innate capacity. It's constructed, developed over time as you grow and mature. We're not born with it. If you observe children of all ages, you'll see that there's not much willpower there. So, and then you observe that same child, or as an adult, their thoughts and behaviors have changed completely because they've grown and adapted and developed this ability between these higher and lower functions, needs, processes, goals, things like this. So willpower is built through education and experience, where all the elements of the self align together, align toward a chosen end. So it's constructed gradually, and nature only provides the basic materials for you, but complex voluntary action is required through trial and error, through learning, to hone it and improve it. And there's this stability versus complexity, where simple instinctive actions are stable and robust, while complex voluntary actions are fragile and prone to break down. So the more complex the will, the more it relies on ongoing reinforcement and habit. So you can kind of relate to that when you think that the simpler things, the simpler deliberations and decisions in your life don't take much effort or energy, but the more complex the consideration, the more significant it is, it weighs much more heavily on you. There's a lot more inner conflict, deliberation, energy expended on this. And so he's talking about the stability versus the complexity. The fourth part is vulnerabilities and failure of the will. So willpower can fail in one of two ways. So number one is the absence of it, where actions occur reflexively without conscious awareness or control. And then the second breakdown of the will is enfeeblement. So the first is absence of it. The second is enfeeblement of the will. It's like enfeeblement, the weakening. There is awareness and struggle, but rational motives are too weak to overcome impulses, sometimes requiring external support to recover. So there's awareness and struggle, but your rational motives are too weak to overcome your lower level impulses. And sometimes it requires external support. External support's like someone else telling you, hey, go ahead, come on, you can do this, you should do this, or you should stop doing this. That's the external support. Very effective. We all need supportive people around us that want the best for us and that are willing to call us out on things we need to do, ways we need to be, or things we should not be doing. So the will can fail in one of two ways. The absence of it, where your actions are just reflexive. There's nothing stopping you from doing things. There's nothing. You may have heard of or seen someone do something and it was just, oh, I didn't think about it. I didn't stop to think. It just happened. This type of thing. There's the absence of willpower or the enfeeblement of it. So your higher level rational motives are just not strong enough to overcome these lower level impulses. So moving on to 5, the fifth part is the individual differences and the spectrum of willpower. So there are degrees of strength. Willpower is like the intellect, like IQ. It exists on a spectrum, and he says from idiots to geniuses of the will. And failures can be total, or it's unconscious impulsive action, or partial, where there's a struggle, mental cognitive struggle, but eventually failure. And there's personalization. So there's degrees of strength between people, individual differences, and then personalization, where the strategies to strengthen willpower, they should be tailored to individual strengths, weaknesses, and circumstances. So the strategies that are going to be optimal or most effective to improve your willpower are not necessarily the same for everyone, because everybody's different. So finally, what are the practical lessons we can take from this book, The Diseases of the Will, for strengthening our willpower? There's a number of them. Number one, we need to treat willpower as a skill. Approach it as something to be developed gradually, starting with small, manageable challenges and building up to more complex acts of self-control. So it's a skill. We have to develop it over time. Another lesson is reinforce through habit. So using repetition and habit formation to stabilize higher tendencies, making them more automatic and less likely to fail under stress. Just like anything, you're doing what's best for you, but it's difficult in the beginning. Going to the gym is very difficult in the beginning. But if you do it over a certain period of time, it becomes a habit. And then most of the time, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to fight with yourself or struggle, or I'm too tired, or I don't want to go. So over time, the right decisions, the right actions become habit, and you stop having to fight with yourself. Remember, this volitional energy, inhibition, impulsion, it doesn't need to happen every single time. So habit formation is so important. Work on the will. The effort you expend, let's say you don't want to eat something, you're using something as a coping mechanism, alcohol, junk food, and you want to stop from doing that. The work that you do strengthens you over time, and you develop habits. Third lesson is aligning the self. So strive for consensus among motives, feelings, and actions. When all parts of yourself support your chosen goal, the willpower is strongest. So self-alignment is very important. And I'll repeat it. So we want to strive for consensus among our motives, feelings, and actions. So we've got different parts in us that can be at conflict. The higher level, lower level impulses, higher level abilities, and also we've got the feelings, the motivations, and the actions we take. So the less conflict, the less friction we can have between these different components, obviously the better. So we want to look for alignment with these different components within us. The more we do that, the easier things are. So feel specifically with your feelings and your motives and actions. Fourth lesson is increase self-awareness. So identify situations where you're prone to reflexive or impulsive action, and develop strategies to pause and allow rational control to intervene. So we want to be self-aware. The more self-aware, obviously, the better, of what we're thinking, what decisions we're making, what actions we're taking. And then when we see something that's reflexive or impulsive, where we haven't done enough thinking about it, we haven't stopped ourselves just for a minute. Like, for example, if somebody goes for junk food, you'll notice, it may have happened to you in the past where you didn't think at all. You just went for the junk food. And then after you finished it, you felt bad. And you try to remember, like, you didn't even think about it, whether you should have it or not, but you know that you should have stopped yourself. So he's saying that, well, he didn't say it specifically, but that's a lesson we glean from it, is that we want to look for these situations where our action is reflexive or impulsive, and develop strategies to pause, to slow it down, to allow our rational mind to intervene, right? So wait a minute before you do something. Just give it some thought. You get stronger at this over time. Another lesson is support recovery and resilience. So we want to allow for rest, we want to manage fatigue, and seek external support when necessary to restore willpower. I will say a couple of things about this here. At night, when we're not at our best, our strongest, when we're tired, that's when poorer decisions are made. That's when more impulsive, reflexive actions are taken. So I would say that try to offload important considerations for daytime, and you got to treat yourself like almost like your own child, where you can take things out of sight that you know are not good for you in the evening. So use your daytime, the person you are in during the day, to manage and take care of the person you are at night. It's going to be more tired, not energetic enough to think things through, to stop impulses, or to gather the energy required to do something. So, and external support is very important. It's to have people around you that care about you, that are willing to speak up and help you. And finally, accept and adapt to variability. So recognize that willpower varies across individuals and situations, and adjust your expectations and strategies accordingly. So just real quick, willpower opposes internal resistance. Practice saying no to impulses. Willpower is trained like a muscle. Regular, small acts of self-control is what we're going for. It's constructed through learning and habit. We need to build routines and reinforce good habits. It's fragile, especially in complexity. So we want to simplify goals when we're overwhelmed. It's prone to breakdown, through absence or enfeeblement, as you remember. So we want to use self-awareness and seek support. And willpower exists on a spectrum, so we need personalized strategies to meet your needs, your specific needs. And consensus among tendencies is key. So align your goals, your motives, and your emotions. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And this is from the first third or half of the book. There's another part that deals with attention, and I might create a video about that. I think attention is super important, and it's one of the main components that go into your will or willpower. And if you thought that this video is useful, please share it with someone you know. And I appreciate it if you would like and subscribe as well. Please leave comments if you have any questions or suggestions, and I'll see you on the next one. I want to leave you with something I've been thinking about, and I'm saying it at the end of each video. I wish you creative thought and effortful action. Creative thought and effortful action. Take care. Oh, come on.